and we're going to talk about how to calculate inventory level.
No, and guys, although it's exceptionally cool for you to be able to know how to figure all this stuff out, it's been done for you on the TMO and all as well. It's there for you to do, but you need to know how to do it.
We're going to go to the TMO next. That's the next place that we're going to do this. So can you just it's all based on the internet. Okay. So I'm going to give you one trick in doing this, and you can apply it to a neighborhood, a price range, a school district, whatever. Okay. But one of the things I want to give you in this is a way to tell which way the market is trending. Okay, so how would you do that? Okay, so what we're going to do is we'll look at what the inventory level is based on 6 months of sales, and then we'll look at it based on the last 90 days of sales. And if you see that the inventory is shrinking, if you compare 6 months to 90 days, then you know the market's picking up. If you see the inventory is getting bigger, then it's probably slowing down. Does that make sense? How many of y'all are so happy that you didn't study engineering in college right now? Yeah.
Well, plus it's one thing to say, and there's a reason why I don't quote, okay, the amount of inventory in Raleigh is this many months, is because, you know, when you're talking to somebody in Holly Springs or Apex or Cary,
right.
And we have one of the most, what I've seen is just, you know, different markets in the sense that other places, an agent in Raleigh, or I'd be like an agent in Greensboro doing something, you know, now it just doesn't happen as much as we do here.
I get it. No, I totally get that. And the reason that I talk about it from this perspective is because it gives me a way to narrow it down and go, okay, well, nationally, this is what's going on. Locally, in the Triangle, this is what's going on. But here's how it's impacting your neighborhood right here. Okay, so get me the total number of homes on the market today in Wake County, single-family residential homes. And you got a list price in there?
Yeah, 0 to 3 million.
0 to 3 million? Okay, that's fine. So there's 19,025 listings on the market for sale right now, correct? Okay. Okay. Now get me the total number of pendings on the market right now.
And that, okay, we didn't do area, we just did all of.
This is just all of Triangle. This is just to give you an idea overall where our market is moving in general. 2471 pendings.
Did I give you that sheet? My market overview sheet?
Yeah.
That has all this stuff.
It was a while ago though.
Okay.
Yeah, it was 2 or 3 months ago. Okay, and then give me the total number sold in the last 90 days. So that would be going back to February 23rd.
Yeah, this has
The only thing that skews this is the whole due diligence thing.
That's what I was just thinking.
Okay.
Because some people don't mark it as pending anymore, it's always contingent.
That's how we do.
Is there a point in time?
Contingent in the
Is there a
listing.
point in time where it switches from pending to contingent?
When you get past the due diligence date.
Okay, so give me the due diligence.
Here's
Contingent.
Is
Because,
that you got the solds?
Yeah.
How many?
because what he first did was pull up active contingent, and a good portion of those contingents are gonna be under the due diligence period.
Yep.
And we all know that nobody's gonna show anything once it's marked contingent.
Okay, so go ahead and get me the number of, which one are you grabbing here?
Contingent.
Contingent, okay. 14,656.
What I want is something where on the status it says due diligence. You know what I mean? So that way
You can put your due diligence date
You want
in
a number of
there.
actives
Or do you
without
want it to
contingent?
consider
Yeah, I think CBE had that
contingent
combined with
rather than
actives the first time
under
around.
due
Oh, with
diligence
actives the first time around?
Yeah, he's gonna
Okay, that's
take it
okay.
down.
That's fine,
That
because
was-
we're just going to add those two numbers
Because if you
together
put
anyway.
contingent, it gives you the due diligence date
Right.
Is the
under-
total number of actives?
You know,
But you have to go
be-
through each
Without the
one.
contingency.
Exactly, knowing is it a regular contingency or?
Exactly.
Of course, they don't add up. Did you notice that?
But
Isn't
I
that
wonder if you
interesting?
can also search by, because when you mark it
17,
contingent now, it forces you to answer whether or not.
They say
you
they're
have
never
a
wrong, I'm
contingent
telling you. I've done
Right.
searches
So
where
I
I've
wonder
got
if you can search by that.
4 houses, like
But
go right
still,
back
you
in
have
and
to
I
go
get
through
6
them.
and I didn't
You
change
have to
a
weed through
thing.
them.
Okay, so now just give me the number of sold in the last 60
Yeah.
days.
Last 60?
I know, 6 months, I'm sorry, last 6 months, 180 days. Maybe 606. Okay, so what I need someone with a calculator to tell me is 17,570.
I would do it, but then my phone might ring.
Okay. Okay, 17,570 plus 2,471 plus 1456.
Okay, I'm sorry, tell me what you're adding again.
I'm adding the actives plus
Right.
the pendings plus the contingents.
Okay,
So that's basically everything for sale right now.
correct. And then the last 60 days, there's been 86, or I'm sorry, last 6 months, 8606.
21,497.
Is this total here? Okay, so this is equal to 21,497.
So whenever I quote it, I usually say between.
Okay, so now I need you all to divide that by 8606.
8606. Is it 2.49? 7?
That doesn't seem right. No, I know what I did wrong. Divide 8606 by 6 months, by 6. The banker is going, you missed something.
1,434.
Okay, so now divide 21,497 by that last number.
Which one, the 24?
The 20,
Oh, 21.
21,490, whatever that.
21497 divided by 1,000 something.
434, but you just figured out.
14.99.
14,
So we have 15 months of inventory in the triangle.
based on 6 months of sales. So now I need you to take 4922 divided by 3. This is 3 months worth of sales.
1,640.
Okay, and now divide 21,497 by 1,640.
Hold on, 21
497.
divided by,
You have to be able to read the hieroglyphics.
divided by what?
1,640 was it?
Yeah.
13.1.
Okay, 13.1 months of inventory. So is the market picking up or slowing down? It's picking up.
Well, it's seasonal.
Well, yeah.
Don't forget the seasonality.
Absolutely. Now that's why, but it's still picking up. So that's what just things to know, okay? Am I
Okay,
drilling
so-
too far down in the numbers yet for y'all?
Okay, hold on, the 13,
Okay.
okay, I'm the different, okay, we said 15 months, and then what's the difference in the 15 months and the 13 months? What's the time
Okay,
period?
this is based on looking at the last 6 months of sales.
Okay.
This is based on looking at the last 90 days.
Okay.
Okay, so we sold fewer houses per month over the last 6 months than we
Correct.
did over the last 3 months. So the market's picking up. There's more
January,
sales
February,
happening.
March were horrible.
Right. December, January, February. Yikes.
Horrible.
February to March, March, April, April, May. Okay, not so bad.
Right.
Making sense? Okay. Are we in the weeds with the numbers yet? How glazed over are we? Like on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being please shoot me now.
You're about an 8.
What's that?
You're about an 8.
Wow. Now y'all know what I do for fun on the weekends now, can you tell? Okay, but does this help you just get a little another, I want to give you ways to analyze the market for yourself. Okay, so I think I'm done.
You want me to keep this open for?
I
Hey,
don't,
do me a favor,
don't
I'm
close
just
it.
curious about something.
Yes.
Look and see how many are over 800,000, because I haven't looked at that in a while. Because that number, you know, of houses that are 8 to 1 million were houses that a year ago were over 1 million.
Sold or active?
Active. Because I mean, it's ridiculous the number of months. It was like 3 years previously.
Can't be right.
525 actives.
Let me get this out
And then, do me a favor, look and see how many have closed, like, even in the last 6 months.
See, I got you confused with the 60 days, 6 months, didn't I? So 107 in 6 months is 18, 15, 16, 17, 18 a month or something like that. And there's 525 on the market. Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Then we're going to go into the total market overview now. So,
I see.
all right.
My bill will be in the mail.
What's that?
My bill will be in the mail.
Good, good, good. Thank you. I appreciate that. So, we're going to talk about the total market overview now. Have y'all looked at this before or used it before?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, can someone tell me where on the share drive to find it?
No. Wake County Stats.
All right, my computer. Let me go into
Share drive.
the reason we're going to it this way is because if I put it in the PowerPoint, you can't read it because it's like that big. So Wake County statistics.
2011.
Okay. All right, can everybody see that?
Yes.
All right. So here's the thing to understand. As the market has more and more supply, more and more homes available for sale, people quit looking at homes just based on a neighborhood. Have y'all noticed that? They're now looking across an entire price range. They don't want to just live in a certain neighborhood. They want the best deal in that price range. For me, the only other geographical way that I figured out how to slice something up is maybe by school district. You'll notice that? Where they want to be in a certain school district and they want the best deal in that price range in the school district. But I haven't been able to do it by neighborhood anymore. Y'all find that to be true? Maybe.
Yes, and honestly, it depends. It really
Depends.
just depends. There's
Okay.
a few people that are very specific about neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
For the most part, yeah, it's area. I want to be in area 2, I want to be in area 5, I'm
Mhm.
in that area. And
Okay.
yeah, schools are important.
And so work is driving that, probably proximity to their workplace, and then secondarily, maybe schools, and then third is price range. Okay. So what this does is it goes right to the point that Colleen was making a little while ago, which
Love
is,
it.
gosh, all this stuff depends on price range. Okay, so the next thing that I would do in my listing presentation after I've kind of talked to them about all those graphs, and I don't calculate the inventory level in front of them. Y'all get that, right? Because my sellers would not list with me. But I tell them what it is. But then I explain to them that that's going to vary by price range. So you know before you go to your listing appointment, right, that they think their house is worth a certain amount of money. Y'all know that, right? You should know before you get there that, oh, I think my house is worth $300. So literally, I would go through this with them, and I would give you a couple of good dialogues to use. And I would say, okay, so Michael, I know that when we spoke on the phone, you told me that you felt like your house is in the $300,000 to $350,000 price range, somewhere in there, right?
That's right.
Okay, so let's talk through this a little bit. Because what I want you to understand is that in that price range, you've got about 677 homes that you're competing against that are also for sale. And what we see in this price range is that there's only about 13% of those have gone under contract. So what we know is in the last 6 months, there were 147 that didn't sell, and that there are only 333 that have sold. So there's about 50 homes in that price range that are selling each month. Okay, does that make sense?
It does.
Okay, good. Okay, so the next thing is just this inventory level thing that we talked about earlier. You can see that it's almost a year of inventory. So what that means is that if we didn't list anything else in the 300 to 350 price range, it would take a year to sell all these houses. So how do you feel about that?
I'm pretty upset I bought it at 550.
I understand. I know. I understand. So why was it you were moving again?
New job.
New job. Okay. We'll come back to that. Okay. So I get how that could be upsetting. So what we also know is that on average, houses in that price range are listed for about $325, which sort of makes sense. And they're selling for about $315, about 97% of the list price. Now what this doesn't account for is the fact that that house may have originally been listed like yours was at $500,000. So that percentage is a little skewed. But what this tells us is that if you listed your house today at an average price, and it's an average condition in this price range, well, it would take 111 days before we got a contract, right? And another 30 to 45 days after that to close. So we're talking about 60 days from now, almost 6 months. So that's November 23rd. So how do you feel about closing on your house around Thanksgiving?
I'd like to close sooner than that.
Okay, so that dialogue, because most people look at those numbers and they glaze over. If you can bring that dialogue home for them, now they're starting to think time frame, right? Because when do you want the house to close and go under contract?
Next month.
Right. Okay, so let me ask you all another question, and this is going to get into some more of the seller pricing strategies and dialogues. In this price range, we can kind of expect there's going to be 50 closings next month, right? Okay, so for the closings that are going to happen, let's say in July, when are those contracts going to get written?
June.
Okay, the people writing those contracts in June, have they probably been looking at houses for a little while? Okay, are they probably motivated, capable, have their loans lined up or their cash lined? They're ready to buy, right? So what I want you to know and take away from this is that every house that's listed gets its most traffic in the first 3 weeks. Why?
Because it's new to the market and everybody else is already looked at all the other inventory.
Absolutely. So all your highly motivated, ready, willing, able buyers are going to look at it next month if we list it today. They'll follow where I'm going with this, okay? Because this ties into the price reduction dialogue. Who was asking about that?
Me.
I thought so. Okay. So what that means is that after 3 weeks, if we have not had an offer, we really need to probably take a look at where we are in the market. Okay? So let's go. You all get the TMO. That's kind of how I use that. Make sense?
Now,
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
If they say, like, you explain them all this, okay, are you willing to wait 111 days? And they say, so you suggest I should drop the price to 250, between 250 and 300, but over their days on market is even longer.
That's a good question.
So what do you say about that?
Well, I've never had anyone ask me that because I really don't try and push them to that price range at this point. I just tell them what's going on in that price range. If they ask me that question, I would tell them that probably by putting their house in that price range, they're going to offer more house in a better condition than everything else listed. So while the average days on market may be a little higher for the average house in that price range, what you're doing is putting an above average house in that price range. Does that make sense? Okay.
I have a question, Stevie.
Yes.
What if you send this to someone who has a townhome and they call you and they say, this doesn't tell me jack about my neighborhood and my townhome? Like, how do you respond to that?
Because this is
Yeah.
all of Wade County, right?
I think so.
This should be single family homes in Wake County.
Okay.
So if I'm going on a listing presentation that's what I would call a specialty home, that's just the word I use in my mind, so it's a townhome or it's a condo, I either won't use this or I'll recreate it just for that,
Gotcha.
so that I don't have to deal with that question. Because I want them to have the right information. I don't want to gloss over it. I don't want to try and sell them, right? So if I need to redo it, I'll redo it. But for my business, and for probably most of y'all, your business is in a single family stick-built home, right? Are there any condo experts in here? Okay, so, but that's how I would deal with it.
I mean, townhomes are even worse.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's,
Okay, so now we get back to the listing presentation part of this. And this slide is maybe my most favorite slide. How many times can I push this button? Okay, so when I get to this component, because this is actually in my listing presentation, this is when I go back to my needs analysis questions, and I'll say, Brian, remember when I asked you the question about what was more important to you, time or money? Well, I had to break it to you. That was actually a loaded question. Okay, so I'm going to explain to you why. Is that okay? Okay. I've never had anybody throw anything at me, which is probably good. But what I explained to them is that, look, in a seller's market, say between January of '06, well, these dates are kind of all messed up, so I apologize for that. But maybe between January of 2000 and September of 2005, that was a very fair question because it was a seller's market, and in a seller's market, prices are going up. So in that market, if you had said to me, CB, time is more important to me, I would have said, well, price it right here at market value. It'll probably be gone in a month or two, right? If you had said money is more important, I would have said, overprice it by 10%. Let the market come to you. We may not sell for 6, 7, 8 months, but when we do, instead of getting you 200, maybe we'll get you 215. So this makes sense to y'all? Sort of. Okay. We're going to do jumping jacks in a minute. It's going to be good. Okay, so in a buyer's market, though, prices are what?
Falling.
Okay, so what most agents and their clients do is what? Where do they price the home?
Right above the bubble.
Like right there, right? Okay, and what happens, because their clients are like, I gotta get all the money out of it I can because I got the mortgage, and right? What happens after 30, 45 days?
Price goes down. Then
Like
you-
about to like right there?
And then that little line goes down, so you're always chasing that little line. And then you have a seller that goes, oh,
And then they get here, and what do?
they're mad at you.
And then they freak out,
Yeah.
and they lower the price to here and get it ahead of the market, right? But if they just done the same thing up here, they'd have saved all that money. Does that make sense? Okay, so I go through and literally this is how I talk to my sellers. Now, let's pause for a second, okay? Take this off your brain. You all understand the DISC behavioral style profile piece, okay? I am a DC. It's double task orientation. I love numbers. I can talk about numbers for days. If I'm talking with someone that is a high I, I'm going to kill them. They're going to want to throw things at me and scream at me, and their eyes are going to glaze over, okay? So what I want to encourage you about is whether you're a high I or a high D or a high S or a high C, whatever you are, be able to talk to a really deep level, but tailor your conversation to your audience. Does this make sense? Y'all are getting the kind of full Monty today because you're agents and you need to know this. But if I go in and I'm going to talk with Colleen or Linda, they're because I know y'all are both real high I's. Y'all are going to be my listing appointment. I'm probably not going to go through the TMO in quite as much detail. I might skip right to the 111 days thing, right, and forgo all the numbers in the middle. But if I'm going to go meet with an engineer, we're going to go into the weeds. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
So you want to tailor the presentation to your audience. Okay, so enough of that. Do you all get the point about why that's a trick question? Because the best price that most people can get for their home is what?
What was today?
What it's worth today. Right? Okay. You tell Michael's been in a couple of my classes. Michael and Blaster like this and this and this. Okay. Growing inventories, falling prices. Okay, so this is another great slide to put in your listing presentation. To be effective in the market today, you got to be in here, which means you have to be priced below the comps and in a better condition. So when you look at the comps, which comps are most important today? Solds, actives, pendings, expireds.
So,
Oh.
You sure?
yep.
Prices are falling, right?
Oh, I see. So that
But
sold
it
to be
sold
old by
last
then.
month.
Yeah. I would say actives. I would say you want to be priced below the actives. You want to be the cheapest active on the market. And if you go back 1 month, okay, you may be able to use 1 month old sold data. But if you go back 3, 4, 5 months, you'll find that that sold data is so far above the actives now. And I'm going to give you a graphic demonstration of this in a minute. But you want to be, the comps that you need to be looking at are actives, okay? So you will go into a neighborhood and see that, over the last 6 months, on average, properties have been selling for $110 a square foot. But the actives are all at 105, and the pendings are at 103. Right? You see where this is going, right? Okay. Okay, so now here's where we get into the like, I'm ready for more numbers. The details of the CMA, okay? So what I want.
We haven't gotten to the details yet?
No.
Oh, my God.
Because all that other stuff is just background.
My CMAs is went from being like an hour to like 3 hours.
Well, no, not so much, and let me tell you why. Because all you have to do is add that stuff into it one time, right? The big picture, national and local stuff, you add it in one time, and those are just sheets that go in there. Does this make sense?
Somewhat.
You don't have to do that every single time you do a CMA. You don't have to go pull all the data. You still pull the same data, it's just a different way of presenting it.
Okay.
And you don't believe me, do you? You don't believe me. Okay, so there are basically 3 categories that I look at. Only 3, okay? Solds, actives, and expireds. I may look at pendings if there's a real compelling reason, like you got one that's not a short sale, not a foreclosure, and it's priced at $80 a square foot and it went under contract in 2 days. That's compelling because it helps the seller understand that price sells, right? So I like to pull no more. How many comps do you all pull? Total.
Depends upon the property, but probably no more than 4.
Solds? Okay, what about if you were to include actives and?
Probably 8.
Yeah, my goal is not more than 9. I want to try and keep it around 9. 3 solds, 3 actives, 3 expireds. That are the most comparable homes you can get to. Does that make sense? Okay.